You losing your property. Real estate expert John Adams is here to fill us in. How we doing, man?
Great, great. Squatting, it's a real problem.
Yeah, what is this all about?
Well, it's a process under the law in which a trespasser can eventually gain certain forms of ownership to your property, and it happens every day and people don't realize it, and it just goes on. So you really need to keep your eyes open.
It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So I mean, how can that be?
Well,
I don't get it.
Okay, well, it's called adverse possession, and you need to occupy the property without the permission of the owner, which is what squatting is all about. But it can be an honest mistake. There doesn't have to be any intention to take something from somebody, and it can be as simple as either a seller relying on a mistake in a deed or a neighbor accidentally putting a fence up 2 or 3 feet on your property. I've seen easements for as little as 2 inches.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so how does a claim like this end up in court, though?
Well, if the owner and the squatter can't work something out, you got to go to court, and you have to do that before the number of years pass that Georgia law specifies.
So what are we talking about as far as legal requirements?
All right, here we go. There are basically 3 parts. First, it has to be hostile and actual. It's got to be open and notorious, and it has to be exclusive and continuous. Each of those has a meaning.
All right, some of that's very confusing to me, so let's start with the hostile versus actual. What are we talking about there?
Hostile means you have to occupy the property, and you must actually be present. You can't have a child or somebody there. You have to do it. So that's the first one. The second is open and notorious. Right. And what that means is it must be obvious to anyone, even the owner, if they take the time to look. You can't hide. It's called, the concept is called, you've got to fly your flag, which puts people on notice. This is mine, okay? And the third one is exclusive and continuous possession, which means you can't share possession with the owner or even with a stranger or another squatter, and it has to be continuous. In other words, you can't squat for a few years, take a year off, go back, squat for 4 more, and say, that was 7 years. In Georgia, you have to squat or possess for at least 7 years to gain what's called color of title, which is a claim against the property. And then after 20 years, you can get what's called a prescription of title, and that means you have a right to have the property transferred into your name.
What's the advantage of gaining 2 inches of property and going to court and fighting over something like that?
Not much. It's more of a problem for the seller, and that's when these things reveal themselves. You sell your home to me, and I get a new loan. My lender suggests that I have a survey. I think it's a good idea. Surveyor comes back day before closing and says there is an encroachment on the back and we can't issue title insurance. And when that happens, the owner either has to renegotiate or go to the person who has taken the property away from them and try to get them to sign something that says they don't have any interest in it. And more often than not, the person who got it, who received the easement, doesn't want to give it up. They've had it for a number of years and they sort of like it. So, and this can be anything from 2 inches to hundreds of acres. And it happens every day. In just 7 years, you've got a problem.
So how do you prevent it?
Well, there are several things you can do. The first is, several courts have said the mere presence of a no trespassing sign is evidence that you didn't want anybody there. Most attorneys would say that's not enough. Sure. Second, you can either give written permission and get some acknowledgement, you can offer to rent the property, or you can call the police and ask for a police report. And that's probably the best thing to do.
Who knew? Very interesting. You did. That's who knew. And he knows a lot more, too. He's going to answer your real estate questions for the next hour in a live chat on our Fox 5 Atlanta Facebook page, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. John, thanks a lot. All right, your time is 8:38 coming up on